How do you prevent technical debt when building software? Use pre-dev to think hundreds of steps ahead for you before you start building. Visit pre.dev today to try it out for free.
Here we are in the make.com dashboard. And if we come over to the scenarios page, let's jump in by creating a new automation or scenario. Let's click outside of this menu, and here is where we're going to start. So this is the primary interface that make.com offers when building automations. This is a type of interface called a node editor. It's a very common type of interface. You're going to see it in many places if you're new to this. And when you're starting from scratch, you're going to see this purple dot that you can click on. That will open up this menu that you can scroll through to see all of the different platforms that make.com is integrated with. I think the term is probably an app. Anyways, there's a lot of interchangeable terms for referring to things in Make. When you click on one of these platforms or apps, you'll then see the different modules or functions that are supported. When you click on one of these modules, it's going to be added to your automation. Click outside again, right? So if I right click on the node, it opens up this little sub menu, and I can delete a node by clicking this option, right? And now that I started playing around with this, we don't see that purple dot again, but it's the same thing. Now it's gray. And this little icon is what indicates to us where our automation starts. So we can add a module or node to this menu. We can also add it through this menu here. Pretty much does the same thing. Anyways, I don't want to be too pedantic, but I'm just giving you a crash course on this interface. It's really not that complicated. Don't stress out. So I'll click on this dot, right? The visual folks. And the first module that we're going to add is going to be found inside of the Tools app. And the exact module is the set variable module. This module allows us to set a variable in our automation. So the first variable that we're going to create will be called prompt, and the value of this variable will be hello. A variable, for those who don't know, is a place where you can store data, and you can give that place you're storing data a name. So when you configure a node, right, you have to click save in order to lock in those changes. Sometimes if you don't save by clicking outside of it, for example, and come back, you'll see your changes are erased or gone. So in order to lock them in, you have to click save. That saves the changes on the level of the node. In order to save your changes on the level of the automation, you have to do another save. So if you back out of this, right, you'll see we're getting a warning that asks us if we want to save our changes. Let me close that and show you another way how to save. This button here, you can click. That will also save. You can do Command S, right? And now you back out, right, or refresh your page. You'll have your changes saved, right? So refresh, right? And then click in here. You'll get to know this interface quickly. Trust me, it's not that complicated. And now that we've covered the basics, let's get going. So the next level up in complexity is not using a single module, although this is actually quite powerful, but let's now start to string together some more modules, right? So you can add a module by right clicking, then pressing this add a module button. And that's going to open that same menu where you can scroll through or search for a particular module you're interested in using, right? The next module we're going to be using is the OpenAI create a completion module, right? And depending on the module that you use, you might have to do some additional steps to set it up. For example, OpenAI requires us to get an API key from the OpenAI dashboard, which I'm going to show you how to do now, and then add it into make.com. That is the way that make.com is authenticated with our OpenAI account. One quick thing though, before we hop over to OpenAI, let me just mention for the people who are complete beginners, how to connect two nodes together. So if two nodes are unconnected and they're compatible, you can drag them next to each other and they'll auto link. Another way that you can create a connection is by dragging the input side of a particular node and connecting it to the output side of another node, right? Each node, well, I guess except for the first one, each node is going to have, if I right click and unlink again, an input side and an output side, right? So let's reconnect that. And there's a lot of, other stuff I could cover for now, but we'll learn that over time. Okay, now let's get this OpenAI stuff sorted out. So if we click on the OpenAI module and then click this create a connection button, it pops open another menu where we're asked to provide an API key and our organization ID. This field you can leave as default. As you get to know Make, you'll find this is actually quite intuitive of a name. But anyhow, to provide the OpenAI API key and organization ID, we have to come over to the OpenAI platform. This is a separate portal to ChatGPT. It's also ran by OpenAI. And if you don't have an account, sign up. I already have an account, so I'm going to log in. And to get our API key, we can come over to the dashboard. And on the side, you should see an option that says API keys. And if it's not there, just have a look around. You should be able to find it. And once we're on this page, click create a new key. We'll create the API key, copy it. This is the only time I think we'll be able to see it. So we'll copy it, come back to Make, and paste it into this field. As far as the organization ID, let's come back to the OpenAI dashboard or OpenAI platform dashboard. Close this, come over to our profile, come over to the general section, and here is where we will find our organization ID. So if we copy that, paste it in here, then click save, that should connect our OpenAI account with our Make.com account. And that's looking great. So we can save this if we want. There is an error that we'll have to fix later, but we can. All right, so we can't click save, but we can close this and then save like this. We get another warning. Haha. Save anyway. Okay, so we've saved that. So let's keep going. If we open up the OpenAI module, the first thing that we have to provide is what AI model we want to use. You can see that OpenAI offers many, and the one that we're going to be going with is GPT-4o. You could use others. Others might work, but that's the one that I'm going to go with. After you select the model, you can send messages to this AI model via this API. It might seem weird if you've never seen it before, but this is how it works. Each message that you send has to be labeled as either a user, assistant, or system message. The way that I think about this is a user message is a message that's sent from our perspective to the AI. Not going to make sense if you've never used it before, but anyways, an assistant message is a message that the AI sends back to us. Why would we label a message that we're sending to the AI as an assistant message? Well, imagine that we're sending the history of past messages, right? So we ask a question, maybe we're having a conversation, the AI responds, and we send something else, the AI responds, right? At that point, we have a history of messages where it's alternating as far as ones that we're sending and ones that the AI are sending, right? So we can send that message history to the AI. In some cases, that's what we want to do. For example, if we're conversing with the AI. That's not what we're doing here, but anyways, I'm being a little bit too pedantic. And a system message is usually a message used to configure the persona of the AI. That's how I think of it. Anyways, for now, we're just going to send a user message. This is a message sent from our perspective to the AI. And we can type our message here, right? So let's enter hello, right? Then click save. And now we can run our automation. So if we click run once, it looks like it ran successfully. And these little bubbles allow us to see what each node outputted in the automation, right? So if you hover over this one and click it, you can see the response that the AI sent back to us, right? We said hello, the AI said, hello, how can I assist you? Make sense? So instead of hard coding the message that we're going to be sending to the AI, let's reference the value that we have in another node, which we can do via this little panel right here. This little panel has many different tabs, and each of these tabs gives you different functionality that you'll learn about over time. This first one with the star icon allows you to reference values that are sitting in other nodes of the automation. So instead of hard coding the text hello, let's reference whatever we write into our prompt variable. And that's how we do it. So we can click on different fields and reference them. So if we click save, now let's say 2 plus 2 equals, should say 4, right? At least that's what I'm expecting. 2 plus 2 equals 4. That makes sense. That does it for this little make.com crash course.